a couple months ago, when I was walking home, there was this 7, 8 year old, and he ran up to me, and he was like, "Do you want to buy a Pokemon card?" And a couple months ago, I was with a friend, and I said no, I'm okay. I walked back home, and after my friend goes, so I'm like, I think about it, I'm like, fuck, I should have bought one, because it's not about whether I want that or not. It's about helping a kid who's doing something that I admire, that I would want to encourage in the kind of community. He's obviously a bit poor and whatever. And so a couple of days ago, the same kid runs up to me again, and he has like a full set of Pokemon cards just on this wall with, I think, his sister or something. And he goes up to me and he says, "Do you want to buy a Pokemon card?" And I mean, I'm massively in debt, and like at this point, and I don't want a Pokemon card, but I still give him the money for it. And he gets happy. I try and try and help him out, and realise he doesn't understand what consumers are, or doesn't understand any of these other kind of business concepts, but I try anyway. And that same day, I walked away, went to the library, and then walked on my way back to home. These people were standing outside a restaurant giving out flyers, and they spoke to me. And I was like, they were trying to give me a discount for a meal, and I gave them sort of my position and spoke to them, and then they gave me a free meal on the house, which is like a good kind of 10-12 quid. And I was like, "You sure?" And then they gave it to me and stuff, and I was like, this is a very weird karma thing. Like, this is the most in the same day. This is one of the biggest examples of karma. And I kind of contributed to something divine, I guess. I think those things are linked. I've helped someone below me who kind of doing something good, and then this has come back around with someone above me helping me. So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts, or if you've had any examples of karma.
Well, that's not the way that I thought that story was going to go. That's interesting. I thought you were going to sort of go on to a spiel about how, you know, this kid reminded me of a younger version of you, and how, like, you know, I remember you like selling sweets in school at break time and shit, and like having that kind of young hustler vibe, trying to get, you know, maybe you want to buy a new pair of trainers and you don't have the money because your parents won't give you pocket money, so you find some way to sell shit, and you wanted to encourage that, which you kind of did, I guess. You know, you wanted to make this kid happy and kind of give him some positive reinforcement for his small scale young business ventures. But then for the same days, for somebody to just, for a restaurant to give you a free meal, you know, it depends on your perspective, doesn't it? Some people, you know, really, really fact-based materialist thinkers would go, well, there's no link between those two events. It's just you helped one kid and then you were nice to somebody outside a restaurant, they gave you a meal, which is, you know, a valid way of thinking. But then there's also the way of going, well, you put some positive energy out into the world, and, you know, the world fed back to you. I mean, was the free meal, do you think, as a consequence of how you interacted with that person? Or were they just basically like, oh, you can't afford to come here to eat, here's a free meal? Like, how did that interaction go down?
It wasn't anything crazy by me. I was kind of quite low energy, to be honest. It was like midnight. So that interaction wasn't fully me in full energy. Definitely not. And by the way, the point about, that guy selling Pokemon cards did remind me of a younger version of myself. That's why I felt bad when I didn't give it to him a couple months ago, because I was like, fuck, if I was that age, like, that's what I would that's what I encourage as a sort of person. Yeah,
interesting, man. Interesting. I guess it's cool, isn't it, when you just go out in the world and you have these experiences? And I call it, you know, this is going to sound so like woo-woo, and that's fine because I do this a lot, I guess, but like, I call it the universe giving you a sign. Now, whether that's coincidence, whether that's my intuition telling me I'm on the right path, whether it's the right cocktail of emotions that I'm experiencing that make me feel like I'm doing something good, but there are certain instances, circumstances, and feelings I get that are kind of a supporting feeling that I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path now. And it's not like I get a voice in my head or like God shines a bit of light down on me and tells me what to do. It's just like a sign you're on the right track, and things like that are it. Conversations I have with people when doors in life just seem to open in weird ways. You know, I find this person wants me to do this thing for them, or like this money-making opportunity opens up, or this team want me to go and train with them, or I have a great conversation with a stranger and I learn something new, or just things like this happen. And I think they only happen if you have a positive, enthusiastic, what's the right word, encouraging mentality towards the world. You know what I mean? You want people to do well, you want things to be good, and then things might open up for you. But, you know, beyond, let's, for the person criticizing that perspective, just think of it in the converse, that if you go out in the world negatively, then the doors are never going to open. You know for a fact they're not going to open. So you may as well be a little bit more positive and enthusiastic and encouraging, because if the doors are going to open, it's more likely it's going to be, you know, in that state when you're open to it, than if you're just like going around with the very pessimistic, limiting kind of view of things.
There is something in it about how the universe conspires, and I'd have to look into it more to get some good argument for it, but there is something in it.
100%. And it's not like, this is why I kind of, it links to my criticism and thoughts around like the idea of the law of attraction and all these spiritual like theories that now just get monetized and packaged and put out to people in just the wrong manner. It's like, no, the universe doesn't do things for you. That's the wrong way of thinking about it. If you sit around waiting for shit to happen, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I sound like every fucking motivational video on YouTube, don't I? But I'll carry on. Like, it's not that simple. What it is there will be opportunities that will present themselves to you, small to large, depending on just where you're at and what you're doing, and you have to take responsibility to take action for them. You know, it's not like where I've got to in my sport happened like out of my control. I still had to go to the training sessions when I was like a sad, lonely teenager. I still had to show up to camps when I felt insufficient and shit at what I do. But over time, I just got there. Same reason with the podcast. If anyone compliments it, this didn't happen like by accident. You know what I mean? We just decided we were going to commit. You've put hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours into the production side of things. It's true, man. And I was like a sad teenager reading psychology and philosophy books. But we still did that shit. Do you know what I mean? So the universe doesn't give you answers, but it gives you opportunities. I guess that's a good way of thinking about it.
The law of attraction is that proper, like, girl psychology influencer on Instagram that's telling you don't chase it, you need to attract it, girl.
Yeah, man. The thing is, my thoughts around that is, right, the theory there is you think it and it'll happen. That's not how it works. But what I think is that you have to have the belief or the thought pattern to then act for the thing to happen. Like, if you don't believe it's possible, you won't do it anyway. You have to have that initially, but it's not just like, you know, point A is thinking it, point B is getting it. It's like a massive like rises and falls and failures and successes and twists and turns, but you just need to have the right mindset to then just take action consistently. And that's what they mean by it, like it just happening, but it was still down to your action anyway. You just needed to, whatever you needed to do in your mind to make you act positively, consistently, is what will make the thing happen.